Come with me on a bike tour of every neighborhood in St. Louis City. And today we're looking at the most St. Louis of all the St. Louis neighborhoods, and that is downtown. Not too many warm days left this year to bike, so let's get to it. First is the bustling entertainment and restaurant area, Ballpark Village. Built right on top of where Busch Stadium 2 used to be, obviously the best place to hang for a Cardinals game if you're not in the stadium. They even have a Katie's Pizza, which is my personal favorite pizza in all the city. And I love this sign.
Singing loud, I'm from the loot and I'm proud.
Nelly and I share the same birthday, no big deal. Of course, then I get a quick lap around Busch Stadium. Our Cardinals have the most World Series wins in National League history, and the second most World Series wins of all time, which is impressive considering we never spend a crazy amount of money. Cough, cough, the Dodgers are ruining baseball. Here's the Millennium Hotel, which is iconic, but it will be demolished for a new building. Passing by the old courthouse now, which is infamous for the Dred Scott case. Dred Scott being a slave who sued for his freedom to the Supreme Court, saying that since he visited a free state while enslaved, he should now be free. The Supreme Court's decision said that no, he could not be free. But luckily for Dred Scott, he was actually freed by his slave owners a few months later, and he worked downtown in a hotel that has since been demolished. Finally, we get to the icon of St. Louis, the Gateway Arch. Hey, there's the arch. That never gets old. I'm planning on getting a drone for some air footage, but it's a good thing I didn't have it on me at the time of the bike ride because I didn't realize the area around the arch is one of the few restricted airspaces in St. Louis. One, because it's a national park, but two, the FAA announced in 1965 it would revoke all licenses of pilots who flew in between the legs of the arch. And so far, 10 pilots have actually done that. Other famous incidents include a hot air balloon that bumped into the arch, a guy who parachuted onto the arch and then fell to his death, and a guy who climbed to the top with suction cups and then successfully parachuted down. I stopped for a second to film my previous video about the arch design contest. Go check that out. I make my way over to Laclede's Landing, which was the original spot St. Louis was founded on by 14-year-old August Shoto, which now has a few spots like the Old Spaghetti Factory, the casino, and the Four Seasons Hotel, which has a Gordon Ramsay restaurant. Fancy. Across the street, we have the Dome at America's Center, once home to the St. Louis Rams until Kroenke the Donkey defrauded the city and moved them to LA. Check out my video about that as well. It's now home to the St. Louis Battlehawks, and it's an amazing game environment if you haven't been. St. Louis still loves football. I've worked in a handful of buildings downtown, but I like this US Bank Tower because it was the first building I worked in downtown. I had an internship there years ago. Right now, zipping past the Orpheum Theater, and I resisted the urge to get a morning donut at Pharaoh's Donuts. I biked past City Hall, which, believe it or not, is actually not in downtown. It's right on the border, but technically in the downtown west neighborhood. And I got to explore City Garden Park a bit, and it's super nice and clean. They've got a ton of unique sculptures. It's also sad to see both of these AT&T buildings empty, but I'm pretty sure they have plans to become apartments. I really like the original building. It looks awesome with like the Gothic style architecture. And we have the Federal Courthouse building, which is the tallest federal courthouse in the United States. A subtle St. Louis flex, I guess. Let's wrap this up and cross downtown off the neighborhood map. Let me know in the comments what your favorite thing to do downtown is, and keep checking back in on my page for more St. Louis content.